All right, so some last minute updates for the Charlotte Major. The event starts tomorrow. Today is the 15th, and the group stage runs from the 16th through the 18th. The 19th is an off day, a rest day, and then the bracket will be played from the 20th through the 22nd, with the quarterfinals on the 20th, the semifinals on the 21st, and on the 22nd, the grand final, as well as, if I remember right, the reveal panel for the new season. So, right, let's just take a look at a few things that have come out recently that you might want to know before the event actually starts. So here we have the talent lineup, the broadcast talent. And so going down the line, the two hosts, we have Ian Chambers and Doa, with Doa being the desk host and Ian being the stage host. And then the two analysts, we have Jesse and Fresh. So you'll notice no Fabian and no Caliber Jacob. They opted to go with these two for whatever reason. Then we have Easy. Is it pronounced Ty? I'm going to see if it's Ty. And Cyano. I guess Medics was supposed to be the fourth observer, or maybe one of these guys replaced him. But I imagine because of the unequalness of the two rows that Medics was supposed to be here. But I guess he tested positive for COVID before he was supposed to fly out, so he was unable to attend. And then we have, I suppose, what is just the 8 premier casting duo, or rather the 4 premier casting duos in the world right now, the 8 casters. So Blue and Stokes, and then Intero and Pengu from the NAL, and then Ace and Dez, and Fluke and Hap from EU. And I don't know why they split up Fluke and Hap and Intero and Pengu, but they did it for some reason, I guess. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's a good looking lineup, and it's probably about what you'd expect. Also not present is Milosh, who was unable to, I guess, secure a visa. So again, no Milosh, no Caliber Jacob, no Fabian, no Medics, and then also none of the APAC talent. I suppose some of the EU casters actually cover some of the APAC stuff, but the actual casters that are from APAC, none of them are going to be present. And I mean, again, these are just sort of the 4 premier casting duos. No, not to slight the APAC casters, but also they have to come quite far to get here. I imagine some number of them will be present at the next major, which I think is the APAC one, or the major after that. I think it's the next one. A good looking crew, and hopefully they put on a pretty good show. I imagine that they will. And let's move on to the next thing. So unfortunately, yeah, it says today we regret to announce that Elevate can no longer compete at the 6th Charlotte Major. So this had been sort of looming on the horizon. The Elevate members kept talking about how they had not yet got visas and they were still in APAC, and then got closer and closer to the event. And then, of course, this was sort of the expected outcome. Maybe if they could have made it to Mexico, they could have played remotely with those LATAM teams that are going to be playing remotely, but I guess they couldn't even make it there. So yeah, unfortunately, we are going down to 15 teams in the event. None of the groups are changing other than Group A losing Elevate, so that group is just going to be Team 1, Oxygen, and Direwolves. Maybe Direwolves are sort of a fan of this. I mean, of course, they're probably sad for their region mates, or however you would call it, but maybe it does increase their chance of making it out of the group. Same thing for, I suppose, Oxygen and Team 1 as well, but I think Direwolves are currently sort of the underdog in that group. I think Team 1, one of their members, is not with the rest of their team right now, so they are one of the teams playing remotely from Mexico, but I think one of their players isn't even in Mexico yet, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, and that's the most recent thing I heard. I don't know if that's been resolved, or if it will be resolved or whatever, but keep that in mind. Maybe that will impede their performance or something. It really does suck for APAC, right? That's their first seed out of the event, and then even just disregarding seeding, disregarding the APAC playoffs and whatever, probably just the best-looking APAC team gone from the event. It's probably between Elevate and Damwon, but of course Damwon isn't at the event anyway, so definitely fell on the shoulders of Elevate, and this really hampers the chance of APAC taking home a major and even making it out of groups. So okay, let's move on to the next thing. We have the LFO squad, that X Vitality squad, getting picked up by Wolves Esports. So there's Wichita Wolves in T2 NA, so in Challenger League NA, and there's Dire Wolves from APAC also at this event, and now we have Wolves at this event. So this is their logo. Keep that in mind for just a second. And right, they picked up Mowgli, P4, Rise, Bibu, and Shinka. So good for them getting an org. I imagine this was in the works for a little bit, and I mean, they just waited till the last minute to announce it, or maybe they were still finalizing it or whatever, but good on these guys. If they didn't get an org, I'm sure they would have played their hearts out to try to attract an org, and now that they have an org, they're probably still going to play their hearts out to try to impress the org that they just joined. But it is looking a little bit of an uphill battle for them in that they have to take down BDS and Astralis, I'd say, are probably the two favorites in that group, but maybe these guys will have a fire lit in them and that will propel them out of their group. We'll have to see. Okay, and the final thing, okay, we have the updated schedule. So now we have the Wolves logo on here instead of LFO, and then also Elevate is no longer here. So they cut the games from the B stream instead of just cutting the days short. Like, they could have had 3 of these games over here, but instead they decided to do this. So the same length of days, but just a shorter B stream. So let's make this a little bit clearer here. And if it is even a bit too small, I'll read off what the times are for each of these rows. So is the 16th, 17th, and 18th is for the columns, of course, but the rows, the actual times, we have 10:30 a.m., 11:50 a.m., and then the rest are p.m. So we have 1:20, 2:50, 4:20, 5:45, 7:10, and 8:40. And these are all, of course, Eastern times. Adjust for your time zone. And so I don't know if the order got changed that much. I didn't like cross-reference it with the previous one, but it looks like Dark Zero versus G2 is still the very first match, along with on the B stream, we have Wolves versus Chiefs. And then because the B stream is shorter, the very last game of the group stage will just be Cyclops versus Furia. And maybe this will be a good game. I mean, on paper, it does look like a good game, but we'll have to see if they're actually playing for anything. Maybe Xset and Liquid will already have locked up the top 2 spots, but maybe these 2 teams will be playing for just the winner to make it out and the loser to not make it out. So could be quite exciting. And, you know, most of the matches I think look pretty exciting, given a lot of factors. And I guess we still don't know the actual playoff times. That is going to come eventually. I don't know if it'll be announced maybe on that intermittent day on the 19th. We'll have to see. And I think that's the last thing, right? The next thing, it'll just take me back to the broadcast talent. Right. So that's going to do it. So I'll be watching the event and, I don't know, doing like some amount of coverage or videos or whatever for the group stage. And then I'm supposed to be at the event spectating for the bracket. So looking forward to that. And maybe I'll do a little something while I'm there. I don't know what that'll be, but we'll have to see. So, right, I guess that's going to do it. Leave me a comment if you have anything to comment on. And other than that, you know, a like and a sub would be appreciated. So with all of that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.